Donald Trump has landed back in the U.S. after a two-day summit with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Trump says that he has struck trade deals for both countries, but little information has been released on what, if anything, was agreed to.
The U.S. president. A lot of things have happened, and you'll be hearing about them, but that was a tremendous success. I think it really was a historic moment.
The U.S. president did confirm that China agreed to purchase 200 Boeing jets with a commitment to potentially buy more. Trade was at the top of the agenda at the meeting, along with the war with Iran. But reporters also pressed Trump about discussions on Taiwan.
Would the U.S. defend Taiwan if it came to it?
I don't want to say. I'm not going to say that. There's only one person that knows that. You know who it is? Me. I'm the only person. That question was asked to me today by President Xi. I said, I don't talk about that.
He asked you today. He asked you if you would send troops, if you would defend.
He asked me if I defend them. I said, I don't talk about that.
So what can we glean from the statements made regarding this China trip? We have Margaret McCuaig-Johnston joining us now to discuss that. She's an advisory board member with the China Strategic Risks Institute. Margaret, thank you for your time.
Thanks for inviting me, Sarah.
What's your assessment on whether or not the U.S. actually achieved what they set out to do here?
Well, it was an accomplishment to have an important meeting like this because we're at an inflection point in the world with two world wars, or two wars going on, with China providing missiles and other equipment on both sides of opposite the U.S. So this was a real opportunity. But we didn't see a lot that actually came out of it. As you said, there was a couple of trade announcements for planes and soybeans, but the planes, it was 200 Boeing planes, and that was lower than the industry expectations. So Boeing actually dropped in the stock market today. There were plans for Chinese investment in the U.S., but no details. And in fact, tariffs weren't even mentioned by either side. That's really remarkable. And so what surprised me, I think, was that there weren't any specifics. And we saw coming out of the Carney-Xi meeting in January that there were specifics and a lot of detail on MOUs and agreements. Nothing like that from this meeting, which is really remarkable.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about Canada, because without those specifics, there are going to be those within this country who are wondering, what's behind, what might have happened behind the doors that we're not hearing? And if there were agreements that were made, how might that impact Canada?
Well, we'll see when they come to some kind of agreement on what kind of investment China might make in the U.S. There was nothing on chips or critical minerals, and the source of critical minerals at more than 90% comes from China, and they've been cutting off foreign firms from accessing those. So we were hoping to see some progress on that, and we didn't. And there weren't sales of American chips that was announced. And this is despite numerous big, high-profile CEOs accompanying Trump on his trip. So that's a surprise. And so I think we just need to wait and see what happens. The bigger questions on Taiwan and Iran are, I think, going to be more immediately important on this.
Yeah, let me ask you about that on Taiwan. What kind of position is Trump in after Beijing's comments that this is a red line?
It is a red line. He called it the common denominator of the China-U.S. relationship and said that there could be a crisis if the U.S. plays this badly, that it has to act with the utmost caution. And what he has in mind is the U.S. plan for an $11 billion sale of military arms to Taiwan that's been delayed in anticipation of this visit. And on the plane on the way back, Trump said that he would have to make a decision soon. He was going to speak to the leadership of Taiwan. And so we'll see if that proceeds. If it proceeds, he could jeopardize those sales of soybeans and planes. if it doesn't proceed, there will be many people in Congress and in the Trump administration itself, as well as most of the U.S. allies, that will be very concerned about abandoning democracy. So I'm hoping that it will proceed.
I mean, we don't have the details, as you've said, but as we start to learn more, what will you be looking for specifically?
Well, I'm going to be interested to see if anything happens to support Trump on Iran. He really wanted China to intervene with Iran because they have very close relations. And he needs somebody to help him out in this war that he doesn't seem to know how to stop. Both countries agree that the Strait of Hormuz should be open, but at the same time, she told him that he does not agree with militarization of the strait. He does not agree with tolls. Both of those are U.S. positions that they put forward that they were going to implement. And so we have like a standoff now where China made no indication that it was going to help. Maybe behind the scenes something will happen. Both countries agree that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon, but Trump didn't get bailed out by China, and
just to make the point, Trump was asked about this, and he said he didn't want to ask for favors because then you have to do a favor in return when it comes to help with Iran. You're convinced, though, that he does want that help.
He does need that help.
Yeah.
And he does want that help. The administration wants help because there's nobody else who can do it. And, the Trump's allies in the region haven't really been able to help him out, except in minor ways. And he doesn't want to have to go home with a failure in that country. And he's put big red lines all over the nuclear facilities that Iran has, and making all kinds of wild statements. And he's put himself in a tighter corner, and China's not helping him.
Margaret McCuaig-Johnston, an advisory board member with the China Strategic Risks Institute. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for inviting me.